informed. Could I have Mr. Satyam from Razorpay to join us on the dais? And Mr. Ujjwal Mahajan, founder, Chopal OTT. And our moderator, Mr. Ganesh Jha, co-founder, FINOFII. Change is the only constant, right? So we seem to have a few changes as well. Could I request Mr. Gurmeet Chawla, MD, Master Capital, to join us on the dais? Well, now that the introductions seem complete, I hand it over to you, Ganesh, to take this forward and talk to us about digital transformation and strategies for scale-up.
Great, thank you very much. So thank you, Satyam and Gurmeet sir, for joining me on this topic. So basically, I think we all have heard what investments and startup investments is. Now I think let's talk something how to build the startup, right? So I think last few years has been really very, very great from the startup ecosystem point of view. And one of the key ingredients to building a startup is the monetization part of it. Now monetization, there has been a lot of ways through which you do monetization, but digital payment is something which is very, very relevant and is one of the pain points of most of the startups, either a budding one or somebody who is already scaled up. So we have two very, very senior and experienced gentlemen sitting here with me. One of them, which doesn't need my introduction, Mr. Gurmeet Chawla, MD of Master Trust, and Mr. Satyam from Razorpay to talk about this topic. So probably I will request to Gurmeet sir first to give a brief about Master Capital and Master Trust, and then we can.
First, a correction. I am MD Master Portfolio and Director of other companies. Okay. Right. So we are a fully blown, diversified financial services group. Master Trust is a listed company which is NBFC, and we have verticals which are into broking, insurance broking, merchant banking, wealth management, and depository services. So there are different enterprises which have been created for different regulators, and we are pan-India, 350 cities, online, offline, and we advise about 25,000 crores of funds, discretely manage 3,000 crores, and we have 4 lakh customers, 1,700 partners pan-India. I think over to...
Okay. Satyam, if you want to talk a bit more about Razorpay.
Sure. So, I mean, most of you would have used Razorpay at some point of time, and most probably at least once a day if you are ordering something from Zomato, Swiggy, or for that matter, any grocery or any ticket booking or anything that you're doing, right? So Razorpay, internally we call it as a platform where we would want merchants to have a one-stop solution. So from your pay-ins via domestic or international pay-ins that you're getting to your vendor payments, everything has to be covered under the same platform. And that's what we are looking at. We are building the platform which covers omni-channel. So while Razorpay started off as an online PG, we now also have POS, which is point of sale for us, right? So a lot of D2C brand, again, that came as a feedback from merchants who are using us, that, while we have an online payment gateway of you, we can reconcile reports, we can do this and that. At the point we don't have access to POS machines, right? So that's a customer feedback that came in. We worked on it, and essentially now we also have offline solution, right? The idea here is that Razorpay as an ecosystem wants to be one-stop solution for all our merchants, whether it's domestic or international. There are a lot of products, don't want to get into detail because of the paucity of time, but essentially if somebody is willing to, experience how Razorpay as an ecosystem works, we are more than happy to, help you assist accordingly.
Great, thank you very much. So mostly what I understood that Gurmeet sir, he being representative kind of an individual side of the digital payment system, and Satyam representing the SME or MSME side of the digital payment ecosystem. So probably Gurmeet sir, I will ask you first. You are an industry veteran, you have been into this from last 40 years, right? So since the time you started Master Trust, and what are the changes which you have seen is how digital payment system has really evolved over the years?
I think if I really see when digitalization started happening is from MICR. When the checks went MICR, so you could read it and you could get credits faster. There was no critical errors, And from there on, it has started. I mean, fast forward is that when we realized that the securities need to be dematerialized, right? So that was again digitalization. Then you came with the other solutions, which is NEFT, RTGS, and then we came to these FinTechs, which are integrated and regulated by RBI, and they help us, get funds faster, easier, and real time. So we have seen a huge change. I think the scaling up of any business is dependent on all. How do you get your money? How fast can you get? How sure are you about the credentials of the parties, stakeholders, right? And how easy is it for the user to transmit money to you? I mean, now we have a gap between the rural and the urban. So that is being filled up, and we need to fill up faster. Yes, smartphones have helped great way in that way. And we still need to go a long way, because now the next generation of investors is coming from tier 2, tier 3 and rural areas.
So, Satyam, from SME's point of view, because me coming from the same industry, I understand cash flow is the bloodline of the business, right? Now, from making a payment to receiving the payment into bank account, this is something where everybody wants कि जल्दी से होना चाहिए ऐसे. Invoice raise करो, पैसा मेरे account में आना चाहिए, right? But of course, it was not possible a few years back, right? But how? What are the changes which you've seen in last few years, and you yourself running the RazorPay?
So I think UPI has been one of the biggest enablers, right? It's not just for the P2P side of business. A lot of businesses also now expect a lot of incoming payments from, even the ticket size doesn't matter. They're expecting a lot of UPI payments to come in, and that's where last year RBI enhanced the UPI limit for a lot of products, especially in terms of investment, in terms of education fee, where previously the limit used to be 1 lakh, it has now moved to 5 lakh, right? Now that's critical because that came as a feedback that even high ticket size items are supposed to be instantly, realized, right? And that's where this guideline came in that, you increase the ticket size for UPI payments for certain set of segments. And I think that's where it comes in, right? So UPI being one enabler, and then obviously FinTech, I mean, Fin part of it is separate and the tech part of it is separate. I think that has also played a very pivotal role where banks which had their way of working now have adopted to a lot of white label solution through FinTechs, where they are also expecting the same way, same speed of settlement to their merchants, because that otherwise their merchants would walk to a private player, right? Yeah. That's where they are also encouraging people to, even FinTechs essentially, to build products for them, which they can white label and then use, right? So that's where we are.
So although it looks great what you're talking, right? So probably I'll ask you, Satyam, first, like, it looks great, money is going and coming back to your account in just one click. But I think one of the challenges which I felt, that वो 1 crore का transfer करने से पहले button दबाने से पहले हाथ कांपता है, So, so what do you think that, why, probably it might be our fault also as a FinTech, as an industry, that why we have not been able to download and disseminated this kind of a concept or knowledge to our clients?
To be honest, I think we are doing it to some extent. A lot of what SMEs do, right, because they come from, let's say, tier 2, tier 3 towns also, they expect, and especially if they are working with a private player, there is always a doubt, right? And they hear this news, which might be from US or from other geography, that somebody filed for bankruptcy and it's a FinTech player. So that fear, that iota of fear is something that creates a talent, but I think government themselves have been very encouraging in terms of promoting a lot of these FinTech players to essentially have a level playing field across, right? Whether it's a bank that they are working with as a merchant. So a lot of these KT sessions, knowledge transfer sessions that banks also organize, and I think STPI or for that matter, FIO, the organizations that we work with, they do these KT sessions very regularly where from tax compliance side of angle, from payment side of angle, what are the best practices that merchants should focus on are essentially conveyed, and that's what we are trying to cover. And India being such a large ground, I think we are there. It will take some time, but we should be there.
Absolutely. Sir, probably I think one of the things which are discussed that faith banana is something which is very, very difficult of FinTech from industry, because जहाँ पे भी पैसा involved होता है वहाँ पे faith is something which comes at the priority of the stack, right? एक recent accident हुआ Paytm का, right? Most of us were worried, and I think there are still people who might be worried or who are not aware कि मेरे Paytm का FASTag का क्या होगा, मेरे Paytm का wallet का क्या होगा. So all these kind of things which happen, right? So regulatory point of view say, right? I think what do you see that FinTech industry कहाँ पे अभी भी there are some shortcomings which we need to take care.
I think in any industry, when you come up with new regulations, new products, and especially integration of technologies and players, regulations play a very important role. And always there will be problems because in the end, it is the operator or the service provider who is responsible for things like KYC, the PAN empanelment, or putting the data into KRA or DigiLocker. So in this case, for example, there was a problem in KYC. The lacks of transactions which been onboarded or clients been onboarded, proper KYC was not there. Or there were multiple accounts of same PAN. So these two big things. But then there were two different verticals of ATM said that we remove these services out of this and separate into two companies. That is because RBI is keen to handle this situation. If it had been a sole player, they would just close that there. So these accidents will happen. So what you were mentioning to him was about education. Education is very important because most of the people who use on the phone do not know how to do it, right? So in our industry also, there are the B2B players who take the passwords and things like that from the actual user customer and then use it in trust, but then mistrust follows, right? This always happens. So I think we need to be very careful about educating our customers. Regular counseling sessions within training, customer engagements, outreach, whether it is the bank branches, whether it is the fintechs, the outreach, is very important. And I think we need to even, even if he says that the limit is 1 crore, but I think for the first users for a couple of months should be very low because they don't know how to, because as you said, a wrong button press ho gaya. So the errors like fat finger that we call in markets is very common. 1 extra 0, and there are a lot of other apps which entice you to put money there or, and there cloning is happening. So all that is, there are 13 lakh cyber frauds which happened fintechs last year. 13 lakh. So, I mean, it's a huge number and you can't solve all these problems. Only thing is that training, as you said, is very important.
Right. So what I understood is, of course, the, knowledge about what you are doing. That is first thing which needs a little more to be spoken about. And from regulatory challenges, like Satyam, I would probably ask you this question first. From regulatory challenges, right? So Razorpay also has their share when there was an embargo on Razorpay, where they were not able to, onboard new clients. I don't know if you want to share that or not, but if you want to share, yeah.
I would want to build on what Gurmeet sir just said, right? When it comes to finance, right, it has to be regulatory, right? There has to be a set of rules which is equal for all, right? And that's what RBI came up with maybe 2 years back, where they said, ki, boss, if you want to work in the payment industry, these are set of rules that you need to abide by, right? And that was true for all, right? It's not just Razorpay, it was true for PayU, for CashFree, and any other fintech player who wants to be part of the digital payment ecosystem. When that guideline came, everybody applied for it, tried to comply with it. And because there were so many players who were doing it, small, big, large, whatever way you want to put it, essentially RBI said, ki, boss, hold on, right? Everybody go on a pause for whatever time. Let me audit you all. And then accordingly, I'll, give a way out. And that's what exactly happened. We went under embargo on December 14th, if I'm not wrong, 2021. And then, 2022. And then last year, 19th December, we got the final PAPG license of ours. So now we are a regulated entity guided by RBI, governed by RBI, following the exact KYC norms that bank follow. So what Gurmeet sir mentioned about the Paytm fiasco, that's essentially what we thankfully never did, right? And one key reason was we were always merchant side facing and not a B2C side of business. So I think that helped, but essentially more or less that's the story, right? Regulatorily, we have to abide by whatever the regulator says because it essentially makes a level playing field for all.
Yeah. So probably we just last one question, I will say 30 seconds from each of you. सब कुछ हो गया, चेक 4 दिन से 2 दिन में क्लियर हो गया, पैसा 5 मिनट में ट्रांसफर हो रहा है, मोबाइल से ट्रांसफर हो रहा है. What do you think, sir, where exactly this is going, right? अब क्या बचा है, मतलब at least whatever I have fathomed in my life कि digital payment system में जो होना था सब हो गया. What do you think that where exactly is this going? What will happen? What is next new thing coming into digital payment system?
See, one is where people do not have access to internet. What happens? That means offline. Yeah. And then is contactless. So biometrics will play a role there. DigiLockers will play a role there. Then your tokenization will play a role there. So you can have a POS which is mobile oriented. So internet is not able to have a mobile phone. So I think again, I will come back to rural areas or less educated masses where you need to, put focus on, and if you push all this, and this will happen. Conversational payments, AIs, that will happen very soon. So all this is happening actually. I mean, it's only a matter of time. But yes, on security, the infrastructure has to be better. And there has to be laws, the regulations, and follow the regulations. And then, trainings, this is very important, yes.
Satyam, last quickly, 30 seconds on this, or your overview?
No. So essentially what Gurmeet sir said, right? Eventually AI is one of the key leading factors that we all have to address. More or less, not just because that's the new big thing or a fad. It's not going to be a fad essentially, because people are building upon it. Infrastructure is getting built upon it. Machine learning was always there. AI is just a new name for it. Having said that, in terms of a financial player or a fintech player or a fintech ecosystem evolving on it, more or less when you are going to tier 2, tier 3 towns or maybe villages, the white label ATM solution and all, it has to play a pivotal role in terms of educating the user, like how Gurmeet sir mentioned, that fat finger scenario. They should be aware that what they are doing. And more or less with a lot of those videos, essentially, and education material I'm referring to, people can be coached that when they are going to press a button, they should know what exactly they are trying to press, right? And that's how the evolution of the payment ecosystem is supposed to be, that people who are right now not able or are not part of the larger ecosystem can be educated to be part of the ecosystem. And UPI Lite is one of those examples, for example, right?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I think we're already over the time. So thank you very much, Gurmeet sir and Satyam, for this.
Thank you, Mahesh.
Thank you
So
very much.
much. Thanks.
Well, it's always a tough thing to stop a conversation because of time, especially when the conversation is as engaging as this one. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for that. And could I request Mr. Lalit Ahluwalia from TiE Dallas to come up and felicitate our panelists? Ladies and gentlemen, please give a loud round of applause for Mr. Satyam Singh, Master Portfolio Services. अब तालियां भी बजा दीजिए मतलब याद कराना पड़ता है हर बार है ना And ladies and gentlemen, for our moderator Mr. Ganesh Jha, co-founder FINOFII. Well, it's kind of nice to go back to the memories that your phone or your OneDrive throws up every once in a while, right? It's a frame that we'd like to remember. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much for that conversation. And let's march ahead with courage and conviction now, ladies and gentlemen. आले अहमद सुरूर साहब कहते हैं कि साहिल के सुकून से किसे इनकार है, साहिल के सुकून से किसे इनकार है, लेकिन तूफान से लड़ने में मजा ही कुछ और है. With that thought, navigating the challenges of the startup ecosystem is no less than fighting a तूफान each day. लेकिन अगर एक अच्छा मार्गदर्शक हो, तो सफर थोड़ा सा आसान हो जाता है. Let me now lead you to navigating the startup ecosystem, insights, challenges, and opportunities. And in one breath, may I request Mr. Dipinder Dhillon, Joint Director, Government of Punjab, to join us on the dais. May I also request Mr. Ajay P. Srivastav, Director and Center Head at STPI Mohali, to join us on the dais. And Mr. Piyush Garg, Vice President, SEED, Chitkara University, to come up here. And Mr. Somveer Anand, CEO, IM Punjab, to also join our panelists on the dais. And leading the conversation is going to be our moderator, Mr. Satish Kumar Arora, Vice President, TiE Chandigarh. All yours, sir.
So good evening, everyone. I think since morning, so we have been hearing the stories, even from the Honorable CM, regarding the startup, the idea, the funding, how the government has also been trying a lot of ideas at their level. And this is the panel who is working on the ground is a mix of academia, incubation, government, and more or less STPI. I think we all entrepreneurs in IT, somewhere get in touch with them. So I think my first question, I think to all of you, I think you can quickly brief me, what is the current role that you are playing in the ecosystem and what are the opportunities that the young entrepreneurs have, all of us have it here. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So STPI, you are already aware that we have one of the biggest incubator in India, and we have set up in collaboration with Government of Punjab. It is 600 seats co-working space, and it not only gives you an access to the fund, the mentorship, it gives you an access to a specialized technology. So we are dedicated to artificial intelligence and data analytics and IoT. So these two are the specific areas, and we have a two dedicated lab with all technical support to the startups. So what we really want to do is we really want to collaborate with academics, we really want to collaborate with industry, and we really want to act as a platform where we can generate real deep tech startup. One thing more I would like to add is I have been working with TiE since last 20 years, because when I was in Rajasthan, I was the person who did the first event of TiE in Jaipur. So it's a great collaboration with TiE, and every time when I interact with TiE, I see a lot of Gyan session and a lot of knowledge sharing happening. And we always have a discussion that we should have a place where we should have some tangible output coming out of that Gyan session. So here is a platform at STPI, Incubation Center, where you can just learn things, you can come to us, we will collaborate with the relevant ecosystem, and we'll try to help you to develop a startup into a deep tech. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly, also add, I'm thankful to TiE for giving this opportunity once again to interact with you and apprise you of what the Government of Punjab is doing for the development of the ecosystem in the state. We are the nodal agency, which is Startup Punjab, like we have Startup India. Every state has a similar state corresponding body. So I represent Startup Punjab. We have the policy, framework in place, wherein we have studied, incorporated the best possible incentives for startups, and they are there for disbursement. The only catch and the only requirement is, of course, that you have to be registered with Startup Punjab to avail of these incentives. Other initiatives taken by the government of Punjab through Startup Punjab are that, we have, set up another, private initiative, which is Punjab Innovation Mission. That's a fantastic, body which is doing things which are not possible to be done within the government framework. My colleague Somveer will tell more about that. And secondly, of course, we set up the Punjab Startup Hub. This was somewhere around 2017-18 when it was envisaged, and the Punjab government and the Government of India came together, and like in every state, we have a hub and spoke model for proliferation of startup activities in the whole state. So Punjab Startup Hub, as the name suggests, it is a hub of all the startup activities in the state. 1.4 lakh square feet of incubation space is not available in any of the 65 STPI centers anywhere in the country. 700 startups are working on the latest technologies there. It's not only just a co-working space, it's got labs, centers of excellence, AVGC, it's got, AI, ML, electronics hardware, VLSI design, SMT electronics manufacturing facilities, the testing facilities, the tier 3 data center, even the state data center is tier 2. So this is even one step higher. So that is all. Now, I would say about it, and rest my, colleague has already shared. Number two, we have tried to proliferate the policies of the government, because unless the people know what we are doing, there's no point in making policies and just they are lying in the book. So we have gone across the state, done 2 statewide yatras. Approximately, we have done 200 events in the last 2 years. I don't know if that's not a very easy thing. We have gone to each and every district, each and every college, each and every university. We have tried to, sensitize and make everybody aware of what the government is doing, so that the benefit of all these efforts and the policy frameworks can actually accrue to the startups which are coming out from Punjab. We have around 1,300 startups which are registered with the Government of India. It's a very remarkable rise in the number of startups from the state. We have a network of, Startup Punjab has a network of approximately 30 incubators. We have connected all of them. Some incubators in good in electronics, some incubators in good in agri-tech, some incubators in good in some particular other thing. Let's say now an incubator, a startup in Amritsar wants to get connected to somebody who's good in or requires mentorship from an electronics design point of view in another place. We immediately connect that startup to the person, and the startup is carried forward. From the government perspective, in addition to incentives, we have also notified that if there's a startup, naturally he will not have any past experience and past turnover. Government tenders will have a clause that if there's a startup who is bidding for a particular tender, no past turnover and past experience is required. Straight away he'll be eligible. He'll be able to compete with the best of the other startups and facilities. In addition to this, we have also a budding entrepreneur scheme, where we are catching the children young, encouraging the spirit of entrepreneurship among them. We have connected, I think, 5,000-6,000 students in this, maybe much more. And, we are, vigorously trying to, identify and promote and encourage the spirit of entrepreneurship with innovation, right from the grassroots level. The third is, of course, that, patents. So we also have the Innovate Punjab, which is in Punjab State Council of Science and Technology. Anybody wishing to have his patent registered with financial support, that is done through this body. So I would just summarize here. The rest we can take it in the next round. Thank you so much.
Okay, Piyush, we just heard Madhu ma'am in the last session. So I think what you have actually been doing at Chitkara, I think something for the region.
So thank you, Satish ji, for asking me this question. And I'm really grateful to Ajay ji and Dipender ji for setting the context. The most important thing which we do is enabling and empowering the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs is the process in making. I would like to say enabling and empowering the youth of the nation. Entrepreneurship, जब हम सोचते हैं, it is not the byproduct or the end process. It's the zeal, कुछ करने की चाह. We have to do something different. We have to make an impact. And that is what we do at Chitkara University. So whether you're coming from any corner of our country and becoming the part of our institute, or even if you're not part of our institute, we provide you the platform where you can actually bring creativity to your ideas and take that to the new heights of successful business and ventures. That's one. Second, should we actually limit ourselves only to that particular state? That is very important. So with this, under the guidance of Madhu ma'am, we actually started the new initiative, what we call Bharat Mala collaboration. Satish ji, I would request your attention on this. Think about collaboration with IIM Calcutta, IIT Bhubaneswar. Just keep drawing the map, okay? IIM Calcutta, IIT Bhubaneswar, IIT Visakhapatnam, IIT Palakkad down in Kerala, IIT Hyderabad, IIM Bangalore, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Jodhpur, IIM Udaipur, and IIT Jammu. IIM Jammu. So that is how we actually have brought all these institutions together, so that when the student and the budding entrepreneurs come into this ecosystem or want to be part of this ecosystem, he doesn't have to look anywhere else. Third, we also have collaborated with best of the best global universities to bring to you their best practices and resources which can be deployed in your ventures. So these are some of the 3 things which we are doing.
Okay, thank you, Piyush. I think it was so nice of you. I was just drawing the map, I think, so while I was going through. So it was purely, I think, the complete Bharatmala. I think, Somveer, I have been, I think, going through your emails, I think, and I am seeing a lot of the programs like Fail Fast first, or Fail Fast, and then the Impact program, I think, the Grinding. So what kind of activities you are doing, I think, at ground level, so which is actually making and which are actually beneficial for the young entrepreneurs?
Sure, absolutely. So I'll kind of start off by answering the question of who we are and what we do. So, you know where the best entrepreneurs in this country come from? It's Punjab. We have the best entrepreneurs in the world. You know, so you know where the greatest bunch of institutes together reside is this Mohali, Greater Mohali area, where you have at least not 5, not 10, you have at least 30 institutes which are making a difference, all the way from Mohali till Patiala, where my college Thapar is. So, you know, these are the places which are really making a difference. And the third thing is the government is spending so much money and so much time and so much effort into building this ecosystem. Then why don't we have 10,000 crore startup companies based out of Mohali? Why aren't there more Zomatos who's from Punjab, more Grofers who's from Punjab, more Olas who's from Punjab, built in Punjab? That is the question we're trying to answer. And in 5 years, so TiECON 2029, you will have homegrown entrepreneurs coming and giving your keynotes. We won't have to get anybody from outside. You'll have Punjab boys, Chandigarh boys coming in, taking this forward, and that's what we are here to do. And we are kind of riding on their successes, so we are standing on their shoulders. They've built the initial platform. I mean, the kind of work STPI does. And Startup Punjab to always, I always say it's like a Gurdwara. You have to go and take what you want and they'll give it to you. You have to ask for it and they'll give it to you. And obviously the great effort that you guys are doing. So we stand on their shoulders and we take a lot of credit.
Okay, I think that calls for a special round of applause for, I think, the vision, I think, that is being carried. And I think one thing, I think, very quick and summarize, we are running out of time. So what are the 2 challenges that you are facing? I will go back from this side, that to make this vision true, that you are facing when you are actually, the startups are coming to you, young minds are coming to you, just 2 challenges that you are facing, and that can be the message that can be passed on back to them to make it success. Yes.
The first challenge I'm facing is a country which is located in the American continent called Canada. So we have a massive problem there. And what we're trying to do there is we're trying to keep our boys and girls here. How we do that is we are changing their heroes. No more your heroes are not your singers or your cricketers. Your heroes are people who built businesses within Punjab, who stayed here and were actually contributing to your economy. Pehle cheez apa hero change karne hai. Duji cheez hai, you know, the idea is that a lot of us are misinformed about what a startup is. We think a startup is Shark Tank. We think a startup is, brashy language used on fancy stages. A startup is what our parents and our grandparents used to run when they did their own work, put us through college, put us through school, got us married, own their startup, where you pay your bills and build something valuable. Our state, our country needs this at this time. There are no, jobs are a problem. The only way we can employ and keep all of us, keep our family together, is by creating employment, which we are doing here onward. So that's the 2 things that I think which
that's great. I think Piyush, you are.
So the first biggest challenge which we say, which obviously started as a strength, is the narrative which is being milked by media, the valuation game. We strongly advocate the fact that you should not be running after the investments blindly and the valuations secondly. Make your customers your investors secondly. In terms of going with the ROI, that is the return on investments, focus on the impact. So we actually significantly put the thrust on ROI, that is the return on the impact. What problem statements of the society you are solving, and if you are solving with a good solution, you will definitely have the customer traction and you will have a viable solution. So these are the 2 aspects which we are focusing on.
Dipender sir, I think.
Yeah. So before I tell you the 2 things which I feel we need to work on, I'll just, first set the backdrop quickly. Both in IT and startups. We started off this effort around 4-5 years back. There's a Government of India framework, which is known as the State Ranking Framework. They have a very well-defined, well-thought-out action plan, what is needed to be done and where it is needed to be done. They have applied their mind, and I think it's a beautiful document. In the first one, we became emerging state, the first ranking. Next year, we went into aspiring leader. Third year, we went as leaders. This year, we became top performer. There are only 4 states above us in the whole country today. That means we are, from the government side, doing everything possible. And yes, we are seeing results. Now, that is one side of the snapshot. Second snapshot, most of the ITs, startups are into IT. Because ultimately, IT and electronics is going to touch, fortunately or unfortunately, each and every sector, whether it's the education, whether it's medical, whether it's agri-tech, whatever it may be, if AI, machine learning, so on and so forth. When I came into Invest Punjab, I'm also the state sector officer for IT and electronics. The investment in Punjab was around 120 crores. Next year, it jumped to 350. Next year, it jumped to 550. Next year, it jumped to 770. We are nearly crossing 1,000. So that's another scenario which is happening, and Mohali is transforming, whether we like it or not. So there's a person who came and told me, Kanda Saab, what is the reason why Punjab has missed the bus? I said, I don't know which bus you are waiting for. The bus is going, the train is going, the plane is going. Do you want to be part of the success story, or you want to be part of the grumbling group which is going to be, waiting on the bus stand or the platform? So, it depends. So the point I'm trying to make is, number one is we require a positive mindset. The startup comes to and meets me. Sir, can you tell me what Punjab government is doing for startups? So I just look at him a bit sympathetically, because this guy has not done his homework. I have very serious doubts whether he's serious about it. Another startup comes and tells me, sir, this is a policy you have made, 16.2.1 clause. Am I eligible for that? Can I get some money? Because I don't know, sir, where I'm going to pay my salaries from. This is the startup who's spending sleepless nights, and he's going to go places. The first person has just come to listen to stories. The second person means business. So the point I'm trying to make is, number one, we need to have a very positive mindset. One can keep on crying and saying, this is not happening, that is not happening, but things are happening. You want to be part of the success story, or you want to be part of the people who are going to be grumbling? The second thing is, yes, the government needs to do more to proliferate, to make aware the people what all policies the government of Punjab has, and so that the maximum number of people can benefit from the same. Thank you.
Ajay sir, I think, just quick one.
I think most of the things are covered. But Ashneet ki language mein bolu. The major problem we are facing is कि startup सोचता है रात भर में करोड़पति बन जाऊं. And this doesn't happen. So you have to put on a very hard work, and you have to create a profitable business. And that also needs time.
बात पसंद नहीं आई इसको.
That also needs time. So one thing I want to tell you is, if you create a successful, profitable business, everything will follow you. And if you do the reverse, because what happens, you follow ki bhai mere ko. So some startups, I think that comes to you also at IIM Punjab. Sir, मुझे 1 करोड़ रुपए मिल जाए तो मैं दुनिया बदल दूंगा. I don't know what will happen if you give that 1 crore to him. ठीक है ना? So this is one biggest challenge जो एक you can fantasy world create हो गया है, उसे हमें break करना है. We have to come to the real basics that startup is a tough journey and you have to do real hard work. This is first thing. The second thing is very important, and the fail fast program that you are doing. You should know that if you are failing, you should change your plan. You should not stuck with that plan and continuously remain into that problem. Just fail fast and do something else. So these two things that I want, these are the biggest challenge.
With that note, I just want to close. I think the final message is hard work, perseverance, patience, and the whole ecosystem is here to help you out.
Silicon Valley 2029 mall.
I think that's
a powerful statement. By 2029, we should have unicorn from this place on this stage. Perfect.
So all the ecosystem players are together, making sure that we all succeed together and make this a Silicon Valley for the world.
Well, patience and perseverance overcome mountains, and that is true in every situation, including startups, especially startups, I feel. We've had representation from every side of the startup world on this panel, and special recognitions are in order. My apologies for the throat. But like I was saying, special recognitions are in order for this panel. It's more like an award for everybody's remarkable contribution to the startup ecosystem present here on this stage. And to do the honors, may I request the presence of Mr. Robin Agarwal, immediate past president, TiE Chandigarh, to come up on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, a special recognition from TiE Chandigarh to all our panelists this evening for their wonderful contribution to the startup world in every way. First up, we have Mr. Dipinder Dhillon, Joint Director, Government of Punjab. We have Mr. Ajay P. Srivastav, Director and Center Head at STPI Mohali. अरे अगर स्पेशल रिकग्निशन है ताली भी तो स्पेशल होनी चाहिए. And we have Mr. Piyush Garg, Vice President, SEED, Chitkara University. And a pleasure to have with us Dr. Madhu Chitkara, Pro-Chancellor, Chitkara University. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Somveer Anand, CEO, IIM Punjab. And for our moderator, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Satish Kumar Arora, Vice President, TiE Chandigarh. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much. बस थोड़ा सा सब्र करना पड़ता है, हर सवाल का जवाब मिलने लगता है. अगर आपके मन में भी AI को लेकर सवाल है, तो शायद जवाब मिलने में थोड़ा ही फासला है. As we now sail into AI in practice, real-world applications and implications.